Hey guys, welcome back to Littlefoot Ranch, and if you're new here, welcome. I am Rebecca. I do things and create videos on topics on a wide variety of things, from gardening to DIYs, working with rescue horses and dogs, ducks and chickens, gardening, healthier and compassionate cooking and living, and so much more. So if any of that sounds appealing to y'all, I would love for you to smash that subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell. And while you're at it, hit the like button and stick around for future videos. Okay, now let's get into today's video. So today I want to talk about fertilizers and how we specifically fertilize our garden. This is not me saying it's the only way or the right way. It's just one of many ways that can be done. It may not be for you, and that's okay. You may have other ideas or suggestions, and I would love to hear them. But it's just the way that we do things, and so I thought I would show you guys how we fertilize and feed the soil in the garden. So here is basically the majority of how I take care of the garden. And we'll go through each and every one individually, but I thought I would just let you guys get a good look at it all. And then behind here, there's some other little things hidden. Okay guys, I guess we should start with this. This is just some soil acidifier. I just actually recently bought this when I planted the blueberries, so I can't really say how well it works yet or not. It's my first experience with it. I have not used it up until now. So, but I figured it was something I used in some of our soil with the blueberries, so I thought I would show you guys, because blueberries and other plants too, when they like their soils acidic, it's just easier to grow them in containers, because over time if you grow them in soils, you'll have, like, a lot of times people use peat moss, which I'm one of those people, but things like that, it gets washed out and it's harder to keep your soil to a proper acidic level when it's in the ground, unless it's the whole area as opposed to containers. And a lot of plants don't like acidic soil, so it's just easier to keep them in the grow bags. This is berry tone. I also bought this for the strawberry bed and for the blueberries. I plan on planting some blackberries and things like that too. I just haven't bought any. This is the first year too I've used this, so I don't have a whole lot of experience with it, other than the fact that it came highly recommended and it got really good reviews. And since it was, because it's one of the things that I had heard such great things about and kind of essential for berry plants in general, I went ahead and was like, okay, we'll get that. Azomite. Azomite is so awesome at providing a wide variety of trace minerals for your soil, and I would be here all day trying to list all the benefits and all the different wide variety of trace minerals Azomite has in it. And so it's just, it's awesome. And I feel like a lot of times when it comes to fertilizers, everyone always just worries about, the big three: nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. But trace minerals are equally as important, and so azomite is a very good source and a good way to get those into your soil. I don't know if you guys can see, I know it's a smaller box, but kelp is also, this is kelp, and kelp is also something I will use in the big garden and in the soils to feed the soils and amend the beds with. It has low traces and sources of nitrogen and phosphate, and it's a really good organic way to feed your soil. And that way, for that specific mineral nutrient that it needs. And so kelp is also something that I will use in the big garden along with the azomite. Worm castings are amazing. I use them in so many things. I will mix them in with my cocoa core stuff that I get from Fox Farm for my seedlings to start seeds. I just, I love it. I will put it in containers. I'll just kind of put it around the bases of some plants if I see that they look maybe like they need a little bit of nitrogen. I love worm castings. I do have a worm bin. You guys know this, but it's not to the point where it's like really ready to harvest yet. I actually think I might reset it and harvest some and maybe start a second bin too. I keep thinking about that. Anyway, now I'm distracted and rambling about my worm bin. Maybe I'll do an updated video on that. But anyway, so worm castings are fantastic for your soil and super, super beneficial. And I consider them to be very essential. Like, if I had to pick everything out of here, I would probably just pick this, to be perfectly honest. So now you guys are probably wondering why in the world I have wood chips. Hopefully you guys can see So I use pine shavings as my mulch, but I also have been known to mix them into the lower layers of the bed and the soils. It's a great source of carbon, and I kind of build my beds like a compost bed, and it goes hand in hand with this. I don't know if you guys can see that, but these are just some radishes that I had let go too long, and you guys saw on the garden tour that I let go too long. Well, the other radishes sprouted and were established, so I pulled those and I chopped them up, and then I will bury stuff like that back into the soils. Like I'll find random spots in the beds, and I will just stick pieces of fruits and vegetables down in the soil, cover them up, and between the nitrogen from the fresh veggies and the carbon, it kind of keeps like a compost going at all times. So now, molasses. Yes, I use molasses. That might sound a little weird, but I will put it, like a teaspoon or so in a gallon of water, and I will feed because you gotta feed the good stuff that's in your soil too. It's not just about fertilizing your plants. It's about taking care of your soil. Your soil is a living thing, and your soil also needs to get fed. And that's kind of how I choose these things to put in my soil. I'm always trying to amend my soil. I'm always adding things into it. If I'm pulling leaves off a plant just because they were insect damage, I will bury those back into the soil as well. I'm always putting things in the soil. And molasses is really, really wonderful at feeding all the good bacteria and all the good guys that's in your soil. They need to get fed too. So now, you guys are probably wondering, what in the world is this? I have 3 in here. It's a pack of 4, but one's on the hose. Because I know it's not a fertilizer. I know. It's just an inline RV filter. But the thing is that it removes chloride, chlorine, and other things. And your plants and your healthy stuff in your soil, they're not particularly fond of chlorine, and so why not remove it if you can? I haven't seen anybody else on YouTube or anywhere really talk about this. I will have to tell you guys the story about how I came to start using this. It's actually been a recent development, but I'll also take you over to the hose and show you how it's set up. But it removes a lot of the ickiness from your water. So we do not have all the rainwater catchment set up for the garden yet. So I have to, when it doesn't rain, which is almost never, but when I do have to water my plants with the hose, my water is a public source, and so that has got chlorine and all kinds of other stuff in it that your soils and that your healthy things in your soils just don't like. And they're super inexpensive. I think this was a pack of 4, and they last forever. So 1, maybe 2 filters, depending on how often you water, will last you for the entire season. And I got this pack of 4, and I want to say it was $30, maybe $35. If I can remember to post the link in the description, I will if you guys are interested. But I definitely think more people should be trying to water their garden with filtered water. I know that probably sounds crazy, but I promise you I have already noticed a difference, and this has been a recent thing in the last year that I've been doing. So anyway, how about I take you guys over to the hose and tell you the story and show you the hose about how we started using this. Okay guys, so we are over here at the hose, and you can see basically you just connect it to your faucet, and then you connect your hose to this end here. And you want to let it flush. And so basically once you connect it and everything like that, you just turn the hose on and you let it run for a minute or 2. You just want to flush out all the other stuff, flush it first. It'll even tell you on the package how to do it. And it's super easy, and it's a really good way to water your soil and to water your plants and to try to keep your soil healthier. I mean, I wouldn't want chlorine dumped all over me, and a lot of people drink filtered water, all of those types of things. They cook with filtered water. We have a reverse osmosis system underneath our kitchen sink, so it's if we take such good care of consuming filtered water and healthy clean water, why is not more people talking about putting good healthy water on your soils. It's one of the reasons why people like to save rainwater. It's because it's the magical water for your plants. It really, really is. We don't have rainwater and catchment set up yet for the garden, but when it starts to rain, I will put 5-gallon buckets and totes out there to catch rainwater, just so I have it to water my garden when I need it. But this is, when I don't have that, this is a really great way, and it's a great way to water my container garden too. Now you're probably asking how, or maybe you're not, but I would want to know, like, how did you come up with that? Because it's kind of interesting how it came to be. Okay guys, so not a lot of you guys know this, but this is technically the third property we've been at that we're at since being in Texas. In between the first property and this property, there was a brief moment in time where we were set up off grid. And the reason for that was basically because we were not willing to get rid of our animals. And so we couldn't find a place, and there were no houses available to buy yet anywhere that would be available in time that we needed to be out of the other place by. The other place was just a disaster, and it was really not safe to be there, and there was a wide variety of issues. And so anyway, in between that time, we refused to give up our animals and just hop in an apartment or anything like that. So we're like, well, we'll just live in a tent and we'll set up an off-grid place so we can keep our animals, our horses and everything with us. So that's what we did. Well, my horses did not want to drink the well water that was there for whatever reason. I'm not sure why. It's not like I was filtering their water at this point. They just drank water from a garden hose that I filled their troughs up with. But for whatever reason, they did not like the well water. I even tried putting a little bit of molasses in their water to get them to drink it, everything. They just turned their noses up at it and didn't want it. So my husband's aunt had the same issue with her animals. And so they have well water, and so she's like, I use just an inline filter, and she's like, it filters everything out of it. She's like, they'll drink it. And so I was like, oh, that's a great idea. So I got some inline filters and I connected it to the hose, and sure enough, the horses were eagerly and happily to drink it. My problems were solved because I was literally hauling water in, and it was really expensive to do it that way because, in the dead of summer, my horses will smash 150 to 200 gallons of water a day. So it was really difficult to keep them hydrated, having to bring water in. And so once Candy told me about the inline filter, I was like, hallelujah. So anyway, how did I get to be using it on the garden? Well, I figured, it dawned on me because, you guys know that I'm really familiar with brewing kombucha. I did it in Colorado. Well, when you brew kombucha, you always use filtered water, and you always rinse out your containers with non-chlorinated water before you ever use them. And there's a lot of other plants that I grew in Colorado that I don't grow here. I don't have a setup for it, and there's just a wide variety of reasons why the stuff I grow here is different. But anyway, when I was growing medicinal herbs and things like that in Colorado, I learned that a lot of those medicinal plants are always watered with filtered water. They're never ever watered with anything else, especially if you grow them indoors like I was. And so that's when it hit me. I was like, it was actually, so when we moved here, I was watering the garden one day and I was like, oh my gosh, why have I not been doing this sooner? I'm totally gonna get an inline filter for the garden, because if I water my seedlings with the filtered water, and if I water medicinal herb plants that I grew indoors with filtered water, and I give my horses filtered water and we consume filtered water, why on earth would I not give the good guys and the good bacteria and all the healthy things in my soil non-chlorinated water, because they don't like the chlorine either. So anyway, I know that probably wasn't a necessary story of how I came to use it, but I don't know, maybe I just like story time. Like, it just makes me feel like I'm just chatting with a friend, because I feel like that's what we do in these videos, and when I watch your guys' videos and you watch mine, I just feel like we're connecting as friends. So anyway, that's the story of how it came to be. So you guys can see a better picture of it. And they have a bunch of different ones. Like, you have to get this specific one. There's a bunch of different ones out there. I just, picked something that was a multiple pack and affordable. So just letting you guys get a good look at that. So Now that we talked about fertilizers and how I water the garden with filtered water, I wanted to give you guys a quick update on the ice plant soap plant, because I know I did one, a brief update on the ginger shampoo, which the plants are about that tall now. I'll do another update on that one. But I really wanted to show you guys how gorgeous these little ice plants are. Look how beautiful. So you guys can tell, right? They're kind of low growing, kind of like succulents. And I don't know if you can kind of see how it kind of shimmers, like sparkle a little bit, kind of, you know, kind of like ice. And they're really, really soft. Like, they're so soft. I don't know if you guys can maybe get a better picture of the texture that way. But yeah, aren't they pretty? I'm very, very excited. I think we're just gonna build them a small 2x3 bed right out there in the middle in between the other beds, and just have that whole bed take over with this, because there's just so many little plants and it'll just give them so much room to kind of grow in space. And I mean, can't go wrong with having just an abundance of plant soap, right? I mean, right? Before I wrap up today's video, I just want to take a moment and welcome and thank all the new subscribers. I appreciate each and every one of you guys so much, more than you guys could ever possibly know. I never thought in a million years that I would make it this far. We hit 500 last week, and I am completely blown away. I just never thought in a million years I would hit 500. I never thought I'd hit 300, to be perfectly honest with you guys. And it just, thank you guys so much for welcoming me into the YouTube community the way you have been, with open arms. It just means the world to me. The friendships I have made through this journey, it will last a lifetime, and they are just absolutely priceless. So I just wanted to take a moment and thank all the new subscribers so much. Well guys, that's going to wrap up today's video. I'm so glad you stopped by and hung out with me for a little bit, and I hope you enjoyed it. So until next time guys, take care and have a beautiful, fantastic, great day.